This sounds fake, but it actually happened. In 1932, Australia went to war against emus, and somehow they lost. To understand how this even happened, you have to go back to the aftermath of World War I. Thousands of returning soldiers in Australia were given land in Western Australia as part of a government scheme to turn them into farmers. The idea was simple: reward soldiers with land and boost agriculture at the same time. But the land they were given was often difficult to farm, dry, remote, and unpredictable. And then came the emus. Every year, after breeding season, tens of thousands of emus would migrate inland from the coast. In 1932, around 20,000 emus moved directly into these farming areas. And for them, it was paradise. The farms provided water, crops, and open land with very few natural predators. But for the farmers, it was a disaster. The emus trampled wheat fields, destroyed entire crops, and tore down fences as they moved in large groups across the land. And when the fences broke, it allowed rabbits to flood into the farmland and cause even more damage. The farmers were overwhelmed. They couldn't control the numbers, and they couldn't protect their land. So they made a decision that sounds unbelievable. They asked the government to send the military. Surprisingly, the government agreed. In November 1932, soldiers were deployed to Western Australia, led by Major G.P.W. Meredith. They were armed with Lewis machine guns and thousands of rounds of ammunition. These were weapons designed for war. The expectation was simple: this would be quick. But from the very beginning, things didn't go as planned. When the soldiers first encountered the emus and opened fire, the birds didn't panic the way they expected. Instead, they scattered into smaller groups, running in different directions at high speed. Emus can run at speeds of up to 50 kilometers per hour, making them incredibly difficult targets. Soldiers quickly realized they weren't dealing with slow, easy prey. They were dealing with fast, unpredictable animals that were almost impossible to track. Some accounts even described the emus as behaving strategically, moving in groups, with what appeared to be leaders guiding the others away from danger. Attempts to ambush them failed. Attempts to chase them failed. At one point, the military mounted a machine gun onto a truck, hoping to pursue the emus across the land. But the terrain was rough. The vehicle struggled to keep up, and the gun couldn't be aimed accurately while moving. The plan collapsed almost immediately. And then came the most shocking part. After firing nearly 10,000 rounds of ammunition, only a small number of emus had actually been killed. In some cases, even when birds were hit, they continued running long distances before collapsing. The soldiers were wasting ammunition with very little to show for it. The operation was quickly turning into a failure. And then the media found out. Newspapers began reporting on what was happening, and the story spread across the country. But instead of praise, the military was mocked. Headlines ridiculed the idea that trained soldiers, armed with machine guns, were struggling to defeat a group of birds. The situation became a national embarrassment. Under pressure and with no real success, the operation was eventually called off. The military withdrew. The emus remained. In the end, the government had to rely on more practical solutions like building stronger fences and offering bounties to farmers. These methods proved far more effective than military intervention. But the damage had already been done. The so-called Emu War became one of the most bizarre events in modern history. A real military operation against animals that didn't go as planned. Because sometimes nature doesn't lose. History is full of unbelievable stories. Subscribe for more.